And this is the same guy that just passed this fucking law in New York City where you have to have a vaccine passport to go everywhere. You have to have a vaccine to go to a restaurant, to a gym, to any place where people gather. It is crazy. And meanwhile, the biggest percentage of people that don't have vaccines or have been vaccinated are people of color. So this guy, people of color and immigrants, this is what he's always supposed to be pro people of color, pro diversity, pro immigration. Those are the people that don't have vaccines. And now you're precluding them from going to gyms and restaurants. And what about the people working in the restaurants? What about all these? It's fucking madness. And then you have a bunch of people that are supporting it. Like, yay, finally. Meanwhile, you have science that's coming out. There's legitimate articles. Jamie, I'll send this to you now. There's legitimate because doctors have been sending me these things. And, this is neither pro nor con vaccine. This is not a judgment statement. But imperfect vaccination can enhance the transmission of highly virulent pathogens.
Right.
So this is a scientific paper from 2015 that shows that here's one important quote: vaccines that keep the host alive but still allow transmission can thus allow virulent strains to circulate in a population. So vaccines that don't kill the virus, vaccines that allow people, like this is one of the things we're finding out about what they're calling breakthrough cases.
Right.
So people who are vaccinated can still get COVID and they can still transmit COVID. Mm-hmm. This recently happened at the Comedy Store. A vaccinated comedian gave COVID to like 12 different fucking people at the Comedy Store. Some of them vaccinated, some of them not. That situation where the vaccine just kind of protects you from serious damage,
right?
But it protects you from really being like badly hospitalized or death, but doesn't stop you from getting the virus, can possibly lead to more potent viruses. So these people that are saying, oh, it's these unvaccinated people that are responsible for the variants. Well, there's actually scientific papers that point to the very sort of environment that we're creating by having so many people vaccinated with a vaccine that doesn't kill off the virus. It actually can lead to more potent viruses. Try finding that story anywhere. Other than doctors, I'm getting PhDs sending me these things. Guys who won't speak about it publicly because they're worried about the blowback. People who are physicians, people who are even epidemiologists, even people that deal with diseases and viruses, they're concerned. And they don't want to talk about it publicly because people call them anti-vaxxers.
Oh, yeah.
It's really wild out there.
Oh, it's wild because they've somehow managed, and when I say they, meaning the political elite and then I think their established media representatives, have somehow managed to turn this into a political issue, right? Mm-hmm. And that's dangerous. Like it's dangerous for any politician to play in that game where they're using something as meaningful and quite possibly dangerous for the country as political posturing or virtue signaling, right? And you see it all the time because you see these guys are wearing their masks for the camera, but then they take them off.
AOC just got busted doing that yesterday. Did you see the video?
Yeah,
she
of course.
Had no mask on, hanging out with everybody, and then they go to take a picture. Yeah. She puts the mask on and then takes it off after the picture's done.
Yeah, or they can have parties, what is it? How
about Obama?
Yeah, Obama's having that 700 guest party or whatever it is.
He's going to tone it down to 600
yeah.
because of the pandemic. He's going to make it a little lighter.
But you can't go to a gym in New York.
Right.
Unless you have a vaccination card.
Right.
Or you can't go out to eat. We're going to shut down small businesses. You can't go to a comedy club. And I think it's rules for thee and not for me scenario. And people read right through that shit. Because some people I think
even are applauding it, which is fucking terrifying. I know smart people that are applauding it. It's so strange. And the problem with applauding vaccine passports, this is part of the problem. They are not going to give that power up.
No.
They're not going to. They're going to
No.
find a reason to continue to use that. If they can figure out a way to force you into carrying papers, into carrying something that lets you enter businesses or lets you do this or lets businesses open, as soon as you give politicians power, in any kind of power that didn't exist previously, historically, they don't relinquish that power. They find new reasons to use it.
I think politicians and I would say lawmakers and government bureaucrats have a really hard time relinquishing control once they have it because
makes
it
their job
feels
easier.
good. Yeah.
Makes their job easier. They can just tell you to shut the fuck up, do what I say, and you have to. You know, you can't work anymore unless you do what I say. That's essentially what a vaccine passport is.
Right.
You can't do what you want to do unless you do what I want you to do. I mean, Don Lemon was talking about that openly on CNN.
Yeah.
Don't have a vaccine? Can't go to the supermarket. Don't have a vaccine? Can't go to work. Like,
it's so strange that people want to say things like that. Like, that's the thing that blows me away. Why do people want to?
Because they're dumb.
They're dumb.
They're
right?
dumb. They don't understand history. They don't understand
Right.
human beings. They don't understand human nature. They don't understand the history of every single country that's ever existed other than the United States. Up until 1776, every fucking country that has ever existed was run by dictators.
Right.
All of them. This is the first one where you had elected officials. This is the first experiment in self-government that actually worked, and it created the greatest superpower the world's ever known. It created the greatest cultural machine, the greatest machine of art and creativity and innovation right fucking here. And how did it do that? It did it through freedom. Because when you give people freedom, you let people do whatever the fuck they want to do, they actually find ways to succeed and grow and thrive. But as soon as you put the boots to them, as soon as you tell them, you have to do this or you can't do that, you have to listen to me, now you have a mini dictator. You have one step away from a king. You have a one step closer. You're moving one step closer to dictatorship. That's what the fuck is happening. That's what's going to happen with a vaccine passport. That's what's going to happen if they close borders. You can't enter New York City unless you have your papers. You can't go to here unless you have that. You can't get on a plane unless you do what I say. And people say, whoa, it's all about protecting people from the... No, it's not. It's not, because we've shown, this is a fact. Just a couple of months ago, the idea of a breakthrough case was unheard of. Nobody heard of anybody catching COVID that had a vaccine, right? That was the whole idea. You get a vaccine, you don't have to worry about it. Now we know not only do you get it, but you can spread it. And some people have died. Apparently, it's a small number. I don't know what the numbers are, but I know that most people who get vaccinated, when they do have the disease, they have a better time of it than the people who are unvaccinated. But where are the people out there calling for people to get healthy? Where are the people out there calling for people to lose weight? 78% of the people in the ICU for COVID are obese. 78%. Where's that information being shared? Where's someone who's a leader who gets on TV and says, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to decrease our body mass. We've got to decrease our fat. We've got to make sure that people aren't overweight. We've got to make sure that people are healthy. Walk around your block. You don't have to do something complicated. Start drinking more water. Stop eating sugar. Start taking vitamins. You can increase the strength of your immune system. We can fight things off better. We can be a healthier civilization. Better for everybody, right? You don't hear a peep. All you hear is take this vaccine that doesn't even prevent you from getting the disease, or you can't go to the sauna or wherever the fuck you want to go. You can't go to the Broadway show. It's madness.
It's madness.
It really is madness, because if it was a vaccine that is it's more of a treatment than it is a vaccine, really, if you look at it. Because you're saying you need a booster now every 6 months. Look, if you get vaccinated for polio, you get vaccinated for the measles, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You're good. This is not that. This is a totally different kind of thing. And it's a completely new kind of vaccine. The idea that people shouldn't be skeptical or nervous about that is kind of hilarious. CNN, like some of their shows, they get 100,000 views in the key demographic. Less than 100,000 even. That's crazy. Since Trump is out of office and they don't have a boogeyman, their boogeyman is unvaccinated people. That's what they're doing.